Так, чё? Здорово, YouTube. Сейчас будет вторая часть, вторая глава сюжетки Фонтейне. Вот, если что, все это дело происходит на твич канале. Название канала, если что, будет в описании, поэтому, если что, залетайте на стримы. Вот, и что. И поехали, собственно, проходить вторую главу. Так, что тут у нас?
Everything looks so good. Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time. And if it's not? Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table. You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh! We called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
Не, ну реально, такое дело выглядит реально, надо отпраздновать. Пиво на стол. 2 блюда, еще пиво, еще кириешек и фисташек. Да, Пайман имела в виду, что пиво давай неси.
Taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after. If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be... Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it. In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of... To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct.
Блин, какая же она красивая. Она прям похожа на такую французскую дворянинку какую-то. Прям вся вот такая в украшениях, в дорогих нарядах.
I don't have faith in their ability. It's just that a different perspective is required. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists.
Спина ди Расула. Бля.
Those highfalutin folk are not.
Да, я бы тоже
That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve. Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are. It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
Ну какие планы? Бизнес, тапки, бабки.
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to... I see. So, your primary objective,
Майнинг, да,
which has been
крипта.
foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while. Considering that you missed your... Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time. Well,
Маленькую толику ее
would you
времени.
consider some more even methods of guess that's Spina di Rosula's
Ляна предлагает нам еще раз закон переступить.
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the opera house, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending and would agree in order to finish watching the play. Don't you think? Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves.
Спрячьтесь под ее кроватью.
And demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions.
Блять, нихуя себе способы.
When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
Когда я хочу спать, делаю все что угодно, лишь бы поспать.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a
Блин, она
person's
тоже
desire
какая-то
for sleep.
глупенькая, по-моему.
All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about. You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all. Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Фонту.
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really... No, it's fine. We're just about done. Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky. Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to... If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay. Yeah, we're stuffed.
Бля, чисто каких-то глупых идей накидала. Какой-то невкусной фантой напоила. Понятно, у них тоже импортозамещение плохое. Ой, сорян.
Nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cut. Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia! So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner. See ya!
Ну давай, пока-пока. Так. Чё там, куда дальше? Угу. А сюда теперь нельзя? Блин, закрыто. Давай сюда. Надо будет, кстати, телепорт открыть, который на этом мосту. А я говорил активировать. Ну все, сейчас активируем. Он же вот тут где-то, да? Блин, а Сай, походу, спать пошел. Ну, с Поки ему там, ну да, да. Хотя не, я думаю, он просто отошел. Так, что там дальше?
There aren't many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Aranias might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again, huh? Traveler?
Ну да, я тоже
Are
думаю,
you
сказал
hearing
бы.
voices again? Ugh, that's kind of spooky. Are you sure we don't want to?
Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Hey, traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache. Are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Do you know where my love is? Wait. Who am I? My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in love. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew, but now we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. The thought of me gives him no succor. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him perhaps that is so.
Блин, что за Вашель?
As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness. If only I could have comforted him, told him that I did not suffer. Indeed, is that what you call it? Dissolving. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time. And I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence.
Ну окей, передам. О, это что такое? Офигеть.
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand?
А, это Кларинда? Ля, прям мамочка вышла.
Quick, now's our chance!
Ля, ну крутая, крутая. Блин, офигеть, реально нежданчик.
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clarand. But before I do so, could you...
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
Ну да, давай, рассказывай, конечно.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would
Do not speak of my father.
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Corral.
Джеймс
But
Бонд
do
не
keep an eye
справился.
out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd been...
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rash.
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarand. But...
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop.
Ну давай.
Right. I suppose that's the best news.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably...
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't as such. We're still partners.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle.
If it were me, I would have joined the...
All right, you...
Actually, Nadia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the...
Well, to be honest, you're the one...
Huh? Really? Paimon?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake. After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color...
So the Fanta
Ля,
had been
подмешали
spiked with
что-то.
water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing
Ля.
the grandest of awards for you as we speak.
Доброе утро, я в ежедневке пошел выполнять теперь тут. Понял, Сая. Ну все, давай располагайся, мы в целом только начали. Потом, если что, на ютубчике записи посмотришь, что пропустил.
Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Lini in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're...
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of. And almost... Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. She said... Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too. But it was real faint. Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. I mean, and besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people...
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of...
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take...
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
Ну да, с таким-то Джеймс Бондом. Так. Блин, кстати, Элвис, чё, как тебе эта кат-сцена? Блин, офигенно. Боевку классно они сделали, да, с этими
It's right
роботами.
up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Крутая, крутая, ну да.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, traveler.
Так. Оп. Оп. Пенса уже легенда. Ага. Блин, нифига себе. Слушайте, ну реально Франция. Что этот чувак сидит, какает? А, офигеть, это какой-то типа... Тут чисто в канализации люди живут. Кошки вон. О, кстати. Телепортик. Мама, я в Париже. А ну-ка. Да, уверен, там также. Это низший слой общества. Нижний.
So, this is your base?
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people...
Может, они
then
просто
that sounds
прячутся
like
от
it's
моей
worth it.
шизички Фурины. Ну, хз. На суд-то она пришла.
Our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago.
Your father... He was the previous boss.
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me...
And no, I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And my father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure at the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender. 3 years later, I still don't understand. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece
Да,
of
что-то
info I have
странненькое.
is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
А, то есть вот эти исчезновения уже прям давно.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom.
That's right.
Ну, типа 3 года как минимум.
Also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really... If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Demoiselle, please. If there is anything...
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from
Ну,
Fontaine,
понятно.
really.
Какой правитель, такие и люди. Чисто Фурина сказала то, что ну все, это Лини виноват. И все такие, ну да, да.
People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... Never mind. If Callus was really falsely
Лучший
accused,
правитель, ну да.
we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have...
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the...
Oh,
А, это Кларинда.
well then, isn't that as good as saying that... Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Блин, на самом деле было бы круто, если бы Навия, короче, была бы очень зла на Кларинду и хотела бы... Короче, чтобы у нее было больше эмоций на эту тему, и она прям не любила Кларинду. Прям вот, прям неприязнь у нее была жуткая. А так она типа такая, типа, ну вот, ты это сделала, поэтому я с тобой дружить не буду. Короче, что-то пока чуть-чуть детским садом опять пахнет от Геншина.
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me?
Ну да, вот это стрёмно, конечно.
All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards... thanks. You two should go and rest.
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure
Как
you rest
дома. Сложно, конечно. В канализации чувствовать себя как дома. Так, что сюда? Это, конечно, не таверна у Делюка.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we...
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating it.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical...
Guess Paimon was...
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from... I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But, that...
Does that...
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed file... If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some...
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we?
No, it's nothing. Let...
Так, а это... Ой, сорян. Это наверху или это... Или это на поверхности? По-моему, это на поверхности.
The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Будь здоров, спасибо, спасибо. Все, давай, давай, спокойной ночи тебе, спокойной ночи, брат, иди отдыхай. Спасибо, что пришел. Давай, брат, давай, споки, споки.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with a fish... This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to.
Oh, see? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep, yep. Paimon can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave a few...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at...
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice...
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Ля, сидит важный.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only lied to get in because we didn't...
It's all right. Please let me know how I may...
So you're not mad at...
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may...
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Давай по Шурику.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several... There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, really just a
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuville.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We...
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Опа. Между ними, походу, что-то есть.
Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some no. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me
Ля,
the
слезы
power to stop him from
прорисовали.
throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiny... There are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the truth.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of... It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express...
А чё у неё тушь не потекла?
Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. How did I not connect the dots? All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later? Great. Let's go then.
Whoa, what a huge ship!
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glory. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the soup. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself,
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main.
Time to go.
Lelouch, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something you still remember, right, Lelouch?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Lini's. Both were what you'd call...
could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain at a glance. It was a kind of drink that could excite your mood.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse, and called for a complete...
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. But no matter how much they threatened, not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get any... Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret, and cultivate personal relations. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work, after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with... But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on...
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any... Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at this... Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes, but considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the... You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on I think this third person is probably the key. On that note, however, even though our opponent is insidious and cruel, they are extremely difficult to deal with and even though Spina di Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise...
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told... Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosul, did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that, ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected at...
What?
Опа. А ее-то за что?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. And the serial disappearances case caught 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence, but as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the...
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the Unfaithful are still far preferable than...
So he chose to die in
Ля, ну
silence
прям взрослая
so that he
сюжетка.
could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the... I'm sure he'd be extremely...
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my... But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this... Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
Ну, любой отец хочет защитить свою дочь. Неважно как.
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, when he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea, but a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to the worst case would be that we leave empty-handed. But also...
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Lini's case. We have no idea just how...
That's true. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove...
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've...
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you...
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosul. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors, after several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed this. The first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of conference.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. The boss helped it to grow to its current size. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against, it's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he...
I see. These are all to think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's almost too hard to believe.
Вот так вот. Крысу будем искать,
If
значит,
you want to
среди
investigate them,
своих.
please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us...
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing... And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live... If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary...
Aw, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the
Ты
best.
самый лучший.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
Протокол по делу Калласа. Угу.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy...
Thank you for arranging everything for us.
Excuse me, miss.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened...
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of Mora.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with...
You don't understand at all.
Опа.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you. And
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt.
Не, ну жалко девчонку. Маленькую. И мама такая грустная, кажется.
On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have...
would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever...
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis
Ну, это
came to him
типичный
with the
мужик прям
proposal,
был.
he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal.
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually... Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callus had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him for what he had done.
Ну, справедливо в целом.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? If he did the Papa always wanted to be a good man. So why did he have to...
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa.
Yeah. Papa was a really good man.
Then you should
Не,
hold
ну
on to
отцы
that.
для дочек всегда
If a
хорошо.
good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reason, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth.
Thank you. I'm very... Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is...
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said...
Так, показания семьи Жака. Семья Жака полагает, что тот получил приказ, убив Калласа, из-за чего сильно переживал. Возможно, Каллас защищался. Или за происшествие скрывается что-то еще. Угу.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next.
Проверим 3 подозреваемых.
Laurent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
Так, ну что, ребятки, наверное, на сегодня это все. Опрашивать подозреваемых мы уже будем в другой части. Я все-таки разделю 2 главу в несколько частей. Вот. Если что, напоминаю, то, что сюжетку мы проходим на твиче. Мы тут веселимся, чилим, общаемся, так что если и будет желание, то переходите на Twitch по нику ниже, в описании я напишу. Вот. На сегодня все. 2 часть пройдем чуть позже. Все, всем пока.